DevilNeverCry.
Right, cameras are rolling, we are live. Welcome everybody. My name is DNC, or DevilNeverCry as some of you call me, and today we are back with a different kind of video, though I'm hoping it's one that you'll enjoy regardless. Today we're talking video game tattoos, but in all honesty we're going to be doing a bit more than just talking about them. As many of you know from following me on Twitter, I myself already have a handful of tattoos, one of which being the guiding light or key of Ardor from Devil May Cry. And ever since getting this tattoo, I've wanted another, one in particular, which I'll let you make your guesses now as to what exactly it is and where it's from. But I finally pulled the trigger on that decision, and a very talented tattoo artist who's already done some of my tattoos has kindly allowed me to film some of the process, so that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So, without further ado, let's cue the footage. So here we are at the morning of our appointment, on our way to go and see Nadak, the tattoo artist. I've had a pretty good meal this morning, as you always should before you go and have a tattoo, otherwise you're going to be in for a bit of a nightmare, and we are on our way. I reached out to Nadak well over a month ago to get this tattoo booked in, considering they are a pretty popular artist, and I've already sent over a whole bunch of reference material and a description of exactly what tattoo I want. She ended up taking the description I gave, along with all of the reference images I sent in, and put together a unique design solely for myself that also stayed true to the original. I eventually arrived at the location, and after catching up and a brief coffee break, we got straight into it. As you can see here, I opted to go for the Spirit of Lightning, the Devil Arm Alistair from the original Devil May Cry. You can see the new design and the original sword laid side by side, and whilst I could have had the option to go for purely the original design as a tattoo, Nadak did give me that option, I ended up going for her brand new design, which I ultimately thought looked much better. Once we were both happy with the size and the placement of the tattoo, a stencil was applied, and when it finally dried, it was time to get started. Obviously, not being a tattoo artist myself, I can't really say much behind the methodology of this tattoo. From my perspective, it seems as though Nadak started with the outline of Alistair and put in a few key reference points and details which I'd imagine would then be used to help with shading. Once Alistair's blade and his left wing were outlined entirely, Nadak wiped away the stencil underneath the tattoo. I presume this is to help aid with visual clarity, as often the stencil can smudge and blur and just make things quite hard to see. Following on, Alistair's right wing was then outlined, and then it was time for a brief break. As always, it's important to stay hydrated, and to make sure you eat some sugary snacks during a tattoo to keep your blood sugar levels up and to stop you from getting the jitters or just straight out fainting. But before long, we got back to it. I would have loved to include some background audio, perhaps of the machine humming away here, but there were copious copyrighted tracks playing in the background, and I didn't want to catch a copyright case, so I decided not to. At this point, you'll likely see a jump in the progress of the tattoo, and that's because I got caught up talking to the manager Chris about DMC and video games in general, and kind of just forgot to record. But as you can see, a lot of fine detail and shading has been added to the tattoo now, and it's really brought it to life. And so far, I was able to handle the pain of the tattoo quite well. Obviously, the longer your tattoo session, the more your pain tolerance wanes and the more you start to feel things. And up until this point, I felt fairly fine. That is, of course, until we came to the dreaded highlights. As the name implies, highlights are essentially the finishing touches on a tattoo. They're typically the last thing that goes on. White ink is used to highlight certain aspects of a tattoo, be it its texture or even its lighting, and it typically is applied over skin that's already been tattooed, hence why it hurts so much. To add to that, I believe white ink also needs to be deposited further into the skin and in greater volumes to achieve complete saturation, hence again why it also hurts so much. But as you can see here, the pain is absolutely worth it, as Nadak adds the finishing touches to Alistair, and the highlights really set the whole piece off entirely. Okay, here we are the day after the tattoo. As you can see, I am all wrapped up and currently healing, and I'm just super happy and impressed with the tattoo and the experience overall. Everyone who's seen the tattoo is been giving me nothing but compliments on it, which is obviously a testament to how amazing the artist is and just how skilled they are with a needle, with a pen, a gun. They're called tattoo guns, right? But yeah, if anybody does want to book them and they liked what they saw today, I'll leave a link to their socials in the description, as well as their site, so you can check that out in your own time. As for me though, it is mission accomplished on collecting another awesome tattoo. So yeah, let me know in the comments section down below what you thought of today's video. Feedback, any feedback is welcome, whether you liked it, disliked it, and whether you want to see more of these kinds of videos. With all that said and done though, I think it's time we wrap up this video. It has been me, DevilNeverCry. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, of course, and as always, I will see all of you next video.